Come. The lights in it. Yeah, get in the light. Get in the light. Have to be in the light. Shalom. Kal halal Yahawah. Bahasham. Yahawashi. Bahasham. Rucha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and labor in this word and doctrine. And shalom to the elect.
Right.
So starting this in let's go Isaiah 61. Let's try and get a full one. No 11.
Isaiah chapter 61 and verse 1. The Spirit of Yahawah is upon me, because Yahawah hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek.
Alright, and this is concerning the gospel. Concerning the gospel. But that's not the New Testament, brother. The gospel's in the New Testament. Well, let's get Luke 4. This is Luke 4. Yeah, you hold that. Luke 4 and 16. And this is talking of Yahawashi, who the world literally calls Jesus Christ. His true name is Yahawashi. It said, and he came to Nazareth, where he'd been brought up, and as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah, which is who? Isaiah or Yeshaya. It said, and when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord, that the Lord being Yahawah. He said, and he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister and sat down. So he did Hebrew hopscotch for vocab alone. He didn't read the whole chapter and sit down. He went into it, he got an excerpt, he got that's an eisegesis. He got an excerpt, and then he closed it again, and he continued. He said, and he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister and sat down, and the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him. Let's get Isaiah 61 and 1 again.
Isaiah chapter 61 and verse 1. The Spirit of Yahawah is upon me, because Yahawah hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
And who's the captives? Israel. Why are we captives? Because we were the elect spirits, not us personally who pray it's us, but the nation of Israel contains the elect spirits. Alright, and Paul talks about being in captivity to the flesh. So this is Romans chapter 7 and verse 22. For I delight in the law of Yahawah after the inward man. And that's a cut. That's a cut to you wacky-tacky Christians. He delighted after the law. Sure. Yeah? For I delight in the law of Yahawah after the inward man, but I see another law in my members warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
Right, that's not because Paul had the mark of the beast, alright? Go on,
bro. Let's go into that, man.
Yeah, for real.
Drop Isaiah 61, let's go straight into that. Let's go straight into that, man. So if sin is the mark of the beast, let's read that again. Well, let's read Romans 7 and 13. Where is it? Okay. Romans 7 and 17. Now then is no more. Yes. Yes. Yo,
guys, wow. Woo.
Who you with?
There's no way that is who I think it is. That is not who I think it is. Is that what I think it is? Oh man, you know what that was, bro? What's up, brother?
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, I got.
Anyone could have been there. I know who you thought it was.
I got excited. I thought it was Ephraim. You know what I'm saying? He looked like
young.
Ephraim too, so I was like, oh no. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's funny.
I would have also got on somebody though because of the faith. Yeah. But Revelation 13, and that was funny though. Revelation 13, I'm going to start right at verse 1, right? It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Read it again slowly.
I got you. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
And that correlates with the 4th beast of Daniel's prophecy, Daniel the 7th chapter, Daniel the 2nd chapter, and that is Rome. It's not talking about Islamic caliphate. there's no substance to that to even comment on.
Because Rome came right after the Greco-Roman Empire, man. After the Hellenistic Empire.
So what are we in now? The 3.5th beast?
Yeah, what's that about, man? And that and Rome was that kingdom that excuse me, Rome was that kingdom that stamped the residue of regards to the other kingdoms, right? Because they were the ones that became the ruling the kingdom that was ruling above the other nations. Just the same way that today America is like glorified kingdom, you know, it doesn't have its landmass and embassy in like North Korea, okay? But it's still that kingdom that everybody looks up to as that king ruling over all the other nations, the most powerful nation. Rome was that kingdom, man, with military might. That's why I said, the cause of iron, slap it.
Well, we're just going to read it, so hold that.
I got you.
So Daniel 7, do you want to go into this?
Oh, yeah, this goes.
Daniel 7 and 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel, who's Daniel meaning what?
Oh, the judge of power.
Judge he power.
Oh, come.
So he's the judge of the Most High Yahawah. Okay. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion.
Alright, so now 4 beasts came out, and those 4 beasts are 4 different kingdoms, right? The first one, read that again, slap it.
Said the first was like a lion.
The first was like a lion, right? You go.
And had eagle's wings.
Alright, it had eagle's wings. So imagine if you had wings of eagle's wings, and that was lifting you up, that was exalting you, that was carrying you up, right? Go.
Said the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth.
Alright, so the wings were plucked up, so that the wings that exalted it up. Okay. Alright, so the wings that was exalting that kingdom was plucked off from the earth, alright? Then the lion, as we read again one more time, that's why.
Right, bye.
Right, please, young man, take care. Listen to your parents. Get in the car. Get in the car. All right, Salakia.
So good.
Daniel chapter 7 and verse 2. Where was I? Salakia. Daniel 7 and 4. The first was like a lion,
right,
and had eagle's wings.
Right.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man.
So the new Assyrian Empire was what is basically what was ruling as the higher empire over Babylon. Okay, those are the eagle's wings, but then it was plucked off because Babylon became that ruling empire. Okay, it then exalted over it. That's why the wings are plucked off, and then Babylon stood like a man. All right, the same way when you're a young boy, you just get in the milk, you just listen to your fam and everything, and as time goes by, you then stood up as a man, and that's what Babylon did, right?
So you would walk to school, your pops or your mum would come and pick you up, your grandma would come and pick you up and do that, and that's like, she's not exalting you in that sense.
She's carrying you up with
it's a safety net.
She's like your wings, man.
Right.
And you know, like a mother, like think of it like a mother hen, right? It gathers, it's young under its wings. Okay? That's right, 2 Corinthians 1 and 30. Okay? And consider that, with the Muslim walk, consider that as well.
It said, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. Yes. It says, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. It raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh.
Okay, and that again, that's going into the Persians, okay? And then after the Persians, well, if you want to go into that verse for like example,
yep, it says, read it again.
Yeah, go into it, break it down.
And beheld another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and that's the meat of that. Well, let's get it, man. Daniel 8, and we'll start at 1. Daniel 8 and 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw that I was in Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Ayalam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, behold, there stood before the river a ram that had a ram which had 2 horns.
Okay, the ram, go to verse 20 to clarify who the ram is.
Yep. This is Daniel 8 and 20. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
Okay, the kings of Media and Persia. So notice it says kings because the beast is likened unto a kingdom. Alright, the meaning of kings, malakwa.
Or the kingdom is likened unto a beast.
Right, there you are, water. Okay, perfect. So that's what the ram is. And can you read that again? I believe that's verse 3.
Daniel 8 and 3.
Right.
It says, Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns.
2 horns, right? 2 horns is now resembling 2 different how do I explain it, man? Kingdoms, like hills, man. It's like a mountain with 2 different hills, 2 different empires. Go ahead.
Okay. It said, Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high,
right,
but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
Right, because I believe for a while it was the Persians, the Parthians, that kingdom, and the Medes then became an authority well, eventually into Darius, okay? And that's Darius, right? That's the last king before Alexander the Great, and that's prophesied in Daniel 8, and then also the fulfillment is written in the Bible as well. Keep going, and then
Hold that.
Yeah,
it says, and I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. And what does beast represent? It represents kingdoms. Alright?
Okay.
It says, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did it according to his will and became great. And why is that? Because the king's heart, whatever is ordained to happen, it will happen. This is Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahawah, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will.
Well, that's spiritual power. Yahawah has the ultimate spiritual power, man. Alright, he doesn't need to get a gun, okay? He doesn't need to do nothing. He just has to put his spirit out there, and it will just stir him up. He just want to do stuff, man. Alright? You'll notice that he'll send angels to just stir up things. All this is power of prophecy. All this thing is his counsel, man. Okay? Because he has spiritual power. Alright? Go to verse 2 there.
Daniel 8.
No, slack it. Proverbs 21? No, you good.
Proverbs, let me get that again. Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 2. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi pondereth the heart.
Right, he pondereth, he searcheth, he directs it in your hearts, man. That's what the Most High does. Because he can do that, man. He has that much power. Okay, so just because these damn devils, these rulers, think they're going to rule forever, just think it's in their hearts, in their own eyes they're thinking, right? It's not so, man. Yahawah's going to stir things up when he feels like it, when it's his time, and that's not now. You know, right now is the time we start to bring our captivity, man. Back to Daniel, the bahasham.
This is what's that in Job 31?
I'm not sure.
Talks about, I might have to look at it. So that's a good one. But do you mind going into that real quick? Like look at one of Job. Just on few more fingers.
I've got it here still.
Actually. Oh, my phone's recording. I'm gonna do. Yeah, Job. Can you pull up? It talks. I think it's Job 33. You know, I'll just try to find it. Excuse me. Here it is. Job 33 and 15. No, Job 33 and 14, and I believe this is Elihu. Did I say? Elihu.
I couldn't tell you, slap.
Okay. One of Job's friends. Job 33 and 14. You're Iowa, man. You're Job. So you should know that. I don't mean he's Job reincarnated. Relax. His name's Iowa. Shit. All right. Job 33 and 14. For Yahawah speaketh once, yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not. It says, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword.
Right.
As if we had no direction, correction, or protection, we would be dying left, right, and centre, man. As it's written in Proverbs 21 and 2, which you got me to get, it talks about how the ways of a man is right in his own eyes. When there was no king in Israel, every man did that which was right in his own eyes.
Right.
Right, and that leads to great death. The wages of sin are death. Sin is transgression of the law, and when the carnal mind is not subject to the law of Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, that's why we die. We die because we depart, and that's why we need the covering of Yahawashi's blood. Now go ahead.
Right, in Jeremiah 10:23 it says that, man. It says that it's not in man to get right. We have to have that spiritual guidance, man. You know, that's why we are taking to His word. You know, Daniel
chapter 8 and verse 4.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great.
Now go back to Daniel chapter 7.
I was going to say, you can't do the whole Daniel 8. So we only went to Daniel 7 to get the beast and correlate it to Revelation. And we're even trying to get Isaiah, but that's how the Spirit goes. What's that in? Let me just get that in John 3 before we go there. John 3 and... All right. So John 3 and 8, it said, the wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell where it cometh and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. So the Spirit, it moves. It moves. It's not a stagnant thing, man. You can't be a stagnant Israelite.
It flows.
It flows. Flowing in the Spirit. That's what brothers title the lesson sometimes.
Right.
You might just start recording. You might have one. You might even not have it. You might just open your Bible and say, well, let's find what we can find in it. Right. Or whatever the Lord has put on my spirit to bring out through the Spirit.
Right, because what you say, what I just say, it's not in you. All right, the Most High stretches forth His hand either to destroy you or to protect you. All right.
So this is Daniel 7 and 5. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. So he said it raised itself up on one side because one was higher than another. It sort of went into that, but that's not the meat, so we'll keep going. It says, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. Right. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
Right, so again, that leopard, if you ever watch leopards, man, they're swift at it, man. When they're catching their prey, when they're doing any task they want to do, man, they're real swift with it. That's what Alexander the Great did, man. Alexander the Great, when he was conquering the other nations in like a very short span of time, he was going over these kingdoms, man. He was just trampling on them, man. Okay? And then said 4 wings of a fowl, because, well, the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shechem, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. And you know, we're going to go into Daniel 8 right now, but that's what that goes into, right? After that was then Greece, and that's prophecy being fulfilled in the scriptures itself, having its bearing witness, I should say.
And that doesn't correlate to Revelation 13, the Antichrist.
No,
everything in Daniel 8 has come to pass.
Everything, man. Alright? Verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Slapping, man. I'll read that again. Verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. Okay, so that's what Slaki, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know where it is specifically, but in Maccabees it talks about how all nations had a spoil in the kingdom of Jerusalem. So that's just like how they drank the wine. It's the same rulership, it's the same Edomites.
1 Maccabees 2 and 10, what nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of the spoils?
Right. So what nation hasn't defrauded, robbed, spoiled, enslaved, attacked, brutalized, killed the apple of the Lord's eye? That's why you're all going to have to pay. Every single nation. There's not a little... The Greeks is talking about Israelites, man. And when this brother pull up, boys. When this brother arrives, let me say, when this brother arrives, Lord willing, we'll get into that. Or if he doesn't, if it's the Lord puts it on our spirit, we'll go into that.
Okay.
So you got that.
I'll scroll down. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place.
Who were servants?
The four wings of a fowl, those are his 4 servants they gave out. I should have read the verse before, but nevertheless. His 4 servants. So Ptolemy had Egypt, Cassander, Seleucus,
Antigonus, and Laconeus, but they had a battle themselves. Antigonus had
Antigonus, okay, in fact, I believe in my video,
you went into it.
In fact, Yahawah on YouTube, alright? Just go on to the video about Hanukkah, and I believe in my description box will also go into it as well.
And there's a link, I think I dropped a link on going into the wars between a couple of them.
Can't.
And that's how, because the original 4, one of them was replaced. So Yeah, anyway, that's really neither here nor there, but it just proves prophecy.
Right.
It's all for prophecy's sake, is what it says.
Daniel
So,
7 and verse 5. Oh, sorry, verse 6.
now read verse 5 again.
Verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear.
So like read verse 6. Right.
And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Right? Those are the four heads, man. Okay, that's prophecy again. That Alexander was going to die. Okay, and then there's going to be the dominion was given to his demonic ass brethren. Right? So it says, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
10 horns. Revelation 13 and 1.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 1. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Start verse 1, read it slowly, I'll go into it.
Verse 1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
So when John saw this, he saw a literal beast. He saw a literal beast, but then it was symbolic, and he saw the events that were aforementioned, or we can say aforementioned now, but they were mentioned at that time. There was a new revelation revealed to him. In the Greek, it's the word apocalyptos. That's where you get the word apocalypse. So it doesn't mean something going crazy in the worldly sense, but it means an unveiling, an unveiling or a revealing. So you get the word revelation, revelation. But the apocalypse, that's why people go into that, because it's from the book of Revelation. Right, so one again, first one.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
The 7 heads goes into NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And you go back to them, they all correlate to 7. Alright, and then the 10 horns, same way, goes into EU. And you can pinpoint all the European states, because you have the USSR, certain ones split off out of that, and all them things. That's obviously NATO. But just to say that there's certain things that are splitting off, and sorry, not NATO, but there's a how would you say? They all have the same origin in it. So if you've got Amalek, well, Amalek's a kingdom in its own right, but it descends from Esau. So it sort of broke up into how you have nation states. Yahawah.
Right. That can also correlate. Well, not correlate. What I'm trying to say is that goes into also what Alexander did. You know, that's basically what these kingdoms are right now. It's all an expansion of Rome.
Right, or an expansion of Greece, because the beast system, it started with Greece. Now Rome was a separate entity, but that's why you have in the New Testament, when the so-called New Testament, in the writings from Matthew to Revelation, you have certain ones saying neither Jew nor Greek. Well, why Jew nor Greek? Why neither Jew nor Roman? Because we know Roman isn't necessarily an ethnicity, and when we go into it, neither was Greek. You had Greek-speaking people. One of them's Hellene, one of them's Hellenistes. I can't say I've gone into it recently to remember. But one of them's talking about Greek-speaking and knew they had the customs and everything. And one's talking about they had the Greek customs and they were Greeks. So why is there neither Jew nor Roman rather than Jew nor Greek? Because everyone was still Hellenized, man. Because he did a hell of a job of Hellenizing. He conquered all manner. If you look, you can get a GIF or a GIF, and you can see, well, this is when he started, and how quickly he expanded. It was unprecedented. And that's how it says, how does it say, touch not the ground? Something like that. Where does it say that?
It says that in Daniel 8, actually. Daniel chapter 8.
Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Let's just skim with this. Touch not the ground. Alright. So, Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Like it. Go to verse 21 to see who that he-goat is.
Yep. Daniel 8 and 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
And what is it saying in 1 Maccabees 1 and 1? That Alexander, the son of Philip, was the first over Greece.
And who came after him?
After him, well, obviously Alexander was down, he died. Okay, and the four wings of the fowl came after him, and they split the kingdom up because they had all that land as the Hellenistic Empire, man.
So that's going into Daniel 8 and 8. They said, Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, Salaki. Where did I start? Yeah, they got Salaki. Daniel 8 and 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven, and out of one of them came forth a little horn. And who's that?
That little horn is Antiochus
Epiphanes, to be precise. It said, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And where's the pleasant land?
The pleasant land is the land of Israel, our heritage.
Jerusalem, Yahawashi, meaning the city of peace. But he turned it away from peace, right, and he made it a place of war. Because he committed great war, great atrocities. Even when you go into Hanukkah, or the Feast of Dedication, in the winter time, that Yahawashi kept according to John 10 and 22, the Rugrats, they did a thing in that, and we went into that with some of the young ones. It's easier to get when it's visual, and we had to pause it and be like, well, they didn't necessarily look like that, and it gives you a chance to sort of to go into the history. Sometimes it's necessary, especially when it comes to prophecy, say, when you have to correlate and sort of, well, if a brother says, well, no, the 4th beast is Arabs, well, how do you get that? How do you get that when the 3rd beast is Greece, and then the next great kingdom that came up over it was Rome? So what kingdom are we in now? Or did Daniel just forget it? Or it wasn't revealed into Daniel? And at the time that destroyed our temple, 70 AD, around about that time, and crucified Hamashiach Yahawashi, they didn't make mention of it.
You brothers, man, you guys are blinded, man. It's so clear how this prophecy is lining up. But you just can't see it, man. And man, honestly, a lot of you brothers as well, man, you're serving diverse lusts. You really want that to be the truth based on the fact that you just can't stand great millstone, man. You just can't stand this, man. Go ahead.
This is Daniel 8 and 10. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. And that should remind you of Revelation 12, when it talks about that great dragon casting down some of them. Yeah? So it says, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it came down some of the host, it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. And it says, yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, even to the ruler of the armies, the Shah, I believe it is in Hebrew. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. So that's the first abomination of desolation. And then you obviously had another one, and that would be 70 AD. So it's all in prophecy. It said, well, we can leave that there. Where's the one where it says, what was I trying to get? You touched not the ground.
That's right. Yeah.
Where does it say that?
I'm not sure exactly. It's laughing, yeah.
Oh, touch. Got it.
No, sorry.
Okay, cool. We'll allow that for now. Anyway, Daniel 7, and if you can keep looking at it there. Daniel, in fact, Revelation 13. Right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and we'll just recap 13 and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast. Verse 5. Right, Salakia. This is Daniel chapter 8 and verse 5. It said, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from perfect. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So he touched not the ground. Why is that? Because he's as the what was the animal?
Leopard.
He's as a leopard. He's so fast. He didn't even touch the ground. That's how quick he was going. When you see cartoons and they're like, and they're going so fast that it looks like they're not even touching the ground. That's exactly how he did it. Not saying, yo, brother, he looked like a cartoon, but he was going so fast. That's the similitude. Okay. If you want to get Revelation 13 and just recap on from 1.
Revelation 13 and 1. And I stood upon the side of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads a name of blasphemy. Okay? So again, just like we read, the 4th beast having 10 horns. So that has to correlate. And that was the kingdom that came right after the Hellenist period, man. Okay? That was Rome. And that was a king of diverse, though, it was as it says, it was diverse, iron teeth, okay? It had military might. Because it's likened as a beast. Imagine a beast with that kind of military power. That's what Rome did, man. Rome is glorified for that. it's been like over history. You know? If you ever look up, you ever one of those guys who like weapons and stuff, who study martial arts, you'll notice that the Roman period is like one of those things that the people who enjoy history, they like that to glorify the military might. Okay?
And we'll skip down to 6 Babakasha, because we're talking on the topic of the blasphemy.
And this is Revelation 13:6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Jim's going to look?
No, I read it.
Okay. So it says, read it against the
I got you. It says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High.
So what does blasphemy mean? It means to go against the reputation.
Right.
So what you had, if you've ever heard of the firework, the Roman candle, that was going to the persecution of the Christians, which were really Israelites that followed the way. Not only we say it in the heart and say it with the mouth and the heart's far from, but they kept the works. They kept the works of Yahawashi Hamashiach, the first century Christians. They were, I think it was under Nero, he had something established called the Roman candle, and he would sometimes wax up Israelites, and he would burn them from the top up all the way down, and that's how he would provide lighting for his guests. And that's where you get the term Roman candle in terms of the firework. Today you get that, and even that's a part of blasphemy. You're going against the fame, you're touching the apple of the eye. When Israel's set up to be rulers, when you're going to harm that, then it is a blasphemy. Yes, but ultimately it's all for prophecy's sake, because they were set up to rule. So even though Israel is meant to rule, it was already decreed that these other nations would come and do this and afflict. There's nothing that happens that is not according to the Lord's decree. He's in control of all things.
Right.
It says, keep going. Open his
I
mouth
was going to
against
be a
Yahweh.
witness, Revelation 17:3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, there you go. Back to 13 and verse 7. It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Okay, so he was given, let's read that again. It said, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Well, who are the saints? Grab those two, grab those two. Well, prove it, brother, prove it.
Psalms chapter 50 and verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. All right, and who was that? The children of Israel, man. The children of Israel made that covenant. And I believe that's in Exodus chapter 24, verse 7 and 8, if I'm mistaken.
Also, you got 1 Corinthians 5. 1 Corinthians 5 and 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Hamashiach, our Pesach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. And who is the us? Well, 1 Corinthians will say, well, that's Corinth. That's Gentiles. Well, what kind of Gentiles, man? 1 Corinthians 10 and 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized into Mashah in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Hamashiach.
Right.
So who was that?
Right. So of course that was Israel, man. Right? Because Israel, we were the ones that was in the wilderness, right? That Moses took us into that wilderness, out of Egypt. And he's saying our fathers, man. So again, those are the saints. When it says the blood of the saints, is talking about the Israelites, man. That's why you gotta purge, just like we read it earlier, purge out the old leaven, because the real leaven left the whole lump. Right? The saints are Israelites, man. Revelation.
That's a leaven of the so-called Christian church.
Right.
That's a leaven that they teach. You know?
Revelation chapter 13, verse 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
It's like if you get 7 again, my fault.
I got you. Verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
So he did make war with the saints. He overcome them, because he ended up scattering them among all the land. A lot of them were already Hellenized, but kept them in the Romance way of life, and he overcame them because he destroyed their tabernacle upon earth. Well, what's beautiful about that is they thought that by taking that away, that we wouldn't have grace with the Lord. Well, ultimately, who's our temple? Who's our tabernacle? It's the body, where 2 or 3 are gathered in the name of Yahawashi Hamashiach. There is he in the midst, and Yahawashi was known as he is the sacrifice. He's the ultimate temple that would be it'd be overthrown, and then it would come back and it would rise again. Okay, and that was talking about his body which was made a sacrifice, a perfect sacrifice, without a lamb without blemish nor spot. It was sacrificed, starting with the elect. It was sacrificed for the nation of Israel, and that's what a lot of people miss. Okay, so he was given power to overcome them. It was given power over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Right.
And I got a precept for that. Just speak on it for a bit.
Right. So again, that was Rome, man. No, that's like I said, it stamped the residue under its feet. So all the other kingdoms, all the other empires, it was subject to Rome rulership, okay? And all nations, tongues, everybody, they was under Roman authority, all right? Because Rome was that powerhouse of a kingdom, all right?
Okay, so this is St. Luke chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed.
Right. So again, it says all the world was taxed, okay? It's actually saying all the world was taxed. No, but the earth was taxed because of the Rome, this rulership. And again, Caesar Augustus was the king, was the ruler, I should say, specific, of Rome. And then Rome was the one that stamped the residue of other nations. So that means Rome was the seat of authority. And then who else is that talking about, man? Who else is that talking about? Who came after the Grecians? Well, what happened since Greece? It's just obvious, man. It's like, what the hell are you doing, man?
These ways are playing into the holy.
So are they stumbling blocks into the wicked.
This is Daniel
Stop being wicked. And you start learning, start being occupied in prophecy, because this stuff should be clear to you, man. If it's the will of Yahawah, Yahawashi. Because again, if the Most High don't want to deal with you, you won't, man. Alright, go ahead.
Daniel chapter 7 and 17.
Yep.
These great beasts which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever. Yes.
Forever,
Khan.
man. That's what's up. And what did I say? So, in other words, at first it was the Romans, right? It's the kingdom of the 10 horns and 7 heads, okay? The NATO EU, okay? Then it was the 11th horn that comes out, okay, which we're going to read, don't worry. And we're saying that's America. And then when America's done out, then it's the kingdom. That's the clear chronology of the prophecy that the Most High has given us, man. He was decreed.
That's the timeline.
That's right. That's right. That's the time period. That's the clear prophecy for those who are in the Word, who have now gone off
the
milk,
salve.
who have gone out the milk and now getting that meat. You should be able to see this. But of course, I say that, and everybody's gonna get it, man. All right. So
this is Revelation 3 and 18.
Uh-huh.
I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. And that's great mercy. We have to give all praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi for that, man. Because he gave eye salve. We could be doing anything on this Friday night. We could be what do you call it?
All types of fun, man.
In the club, getting twerked on, and all manner of bug-outly behavior, bug-outedness. Alright, so this is Daniel, and we're not saying, oh wow, look at us, we're excellent. We're saying the Lord is merciful,
That's
man.
right.
Because we inwardly know what we have done. We know how wicked we have been, and we continue to be, because we're not fulfilling the whole law. So you need a sacrifice. Go ahead.
It's like that brings us back to how we even got into the topic of the beast and the RFID chip being the mark of the beast. Because we know in these bodies, especially all the infants as well, we know that we want to sin, man. Alright? And a just man falleth 7 times, but the wicked fall into mischief. That's why, his ways are paying to the holy, because the Most High has got mercy upon us. He knows we're
all our righteousness is like what?
A filthy ass rag, man. It's like, well, it's not red as filthy ass, so slack for that. But it is essentially
a filthy ass
rag,
It's a bomber clock.
That's what it is. There you go.
All our righteousness is like unto a bomber clock.
That's right, man.
Okay? This is Daniel chapter 7 and 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. It says, Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. So he stamped the residue with his feet, meaning he X'd out all these other kingdoms. There's no rulership coming up against Rome. You can start talk about little battles. Maybe Persia tried it, but they didn't come against it. Rome was thriving, man. Even when Western Rome fell in around the 5th century, because around the 400s. Well, even Byzantine, when you can go into that in the Revelation, the heel grabbers, man. Esau's heel got grabbed and supplanted out the way.
Right.
So then Jay crept up into the rulership, and that was even in the Western world. And there's many things that were being covered concerning that, but it talks a clear-cut prophecy about 1,000 years. Well, the Byzantine Empire was 1,000 years long, and it's well known among scholars that so-called black people ruled that. Yeah, the same people that you degrade, the same people that you hate, that you put in slavery. At one time they ruled over you.
That's right.
And that's what you don't like, the truth coming out, man.
That's right.
Right. So this is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 10. No, verse 20. We all know I can't read Arabic numerals. And the numbers in English are Arabic numerals. If they're not Roman numerals, they're Arabic numerals. Right. Not every single one, but like the 2 and the 0, they're Arabic numerals. So there we are. There we are. Basma, why you got us, man. Alright, so this is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. And who were the 3?
3 fell. Portugal, Spain, and France, man. Okay. La?
Put Portugal and Spain together, what's that known as?
Oh, shoot.
Sounds like Hebrew.
Slovakia. That's why we got the iron sharpened iron in the day.
No.
I thought it was, how could it, Great Britain has to be a part of that, man. So I want to talk, we're living in Great Britain, and I still didn't say it, man. Alright? Because Portugal and Spain are going to be that same empire.
Iberia. So you had Portugal, you also had a bit that went into Castile, and you had Aragon, which was known as like the eastern Spain, and you had southern Spain that was occupied by Muslims, so maybe that was the 4th beast. Yeah, it wasn't. Grenada, you had certain ones, but all of that is collectively known as Iberia. The Iberian Peninsula, which is correlates to the Scotland that was known as the Hebrides, and the island was known as Hibernia. That's the classical antiquitous name in Latin for island. And why is that? What does it all go back to? Iber. Yeah, Ibar, which is Hebrew.
Right. Because again, we're descendants of the man Ibar, right? And many people are. Right? Many people are descendants of the man Ibar. Because Abraham was, and he's the father of many nations. So
Abraham
many people,
the Hebrew.
Right. Abraham, Hibaria, Slakia.
Right. So this is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 20.
Right.
And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, that being Britain, the Iberian Peninsula, which encompasses Spain and Portugal, and the Gauls or the Franks.
Yeah, it's known, man. These places of expansion of Rome. And if y'all don't live here, it's just quite fucking Roman, man. You go to London as well, you see all the architecture, and it's more embraced there. It's so much like Rome. It's more all the things they embrace here. It goes back to Roman custom.
And that goes back to Greece, and all that goes back to Babylon. And that's why it's known as spiritual Babylon. Not here, but America is made known as spiritual Babylon, and all nations have drunk of that wine. That's why all nations have the same God, so-called. You have the God. Let's go through the months. Let's go through the months. Okay, so January. What's that?
January. I forgot the Irish names. Man.
You know. It's fine. January. What's that?
Allegedly the first one that's an idol.
Janus.
Janus.
Which is the god of what?
The one with 2 heads.
2 heads, meaning it's looking forward and it's looking back. That's where you get New Year's resolutions.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so one's looking forward, one's looking back. It's also the god of gates, the god of entrances. Okay, so it goes into that. You've got February, you've got January, February, March goes into Mars, which is also what the planet's named after. January, February, March, April, it goes into Aphrodite, truly. Aphrodite, which is Venus. Yeah. January, February, March, April, May goes into Maya, if I'm not mistaken. June goes into Juno. July goes into Julius Caesar. August goes into Augustus, who ruled over the whole earth in Luke the 2nd chapter, what we just read. August, September, Sept. Then it goes into sort of the numbers, because it used to be the 7th month. You can look into that, the Julian calendar, the Gregorian calendar. And while we're on that, well, how would you know when the Sabbath is if you're going by a Gregorian calendar?
Right.
If I took away them.
Because everyone's saying it's Saturn Day, but that's the Gregorian calendar, which came from the Julian calendar. And this is all Rome, and that it's all for prophecy. It's all for prophecy's sake. Let's just keep it as that's ended there, man.
September, Sept, which is 7. October, 8. Where you got Octopus, Octagon, and November, Nov. I can't think of any, but Nonagon is kind of the same. December means the 10th month. And then we could go into that. You said Saturn Day, so you've got Saturn Day. You've got Sunday, the day of the sun. Monday, the day of the moon. Tuesday, the worship of Tiwaz. I'm not sure if it correlates to that, but it's Tiwaz. It goes into the Gothic, or what do you call it? Those like Germans and all the weird Norse, all that Norse shit.
Norse is good.
Norse is like Scandinavia, or whatever they call it, and that it all links in really.
Right.
Tewaz, you got Wednesday, which goes into Woden or Odin's Day, which is where you get the word wood actually. You get the word wood from the term Odin. So when you're talking about wood, you're talking about Wednesday, you're talking about that same deity. Thursday, which is who?
Thursday, which is
fucking hammer guy.
Oh, Thor.
Oh shit. You got Friday, which is Frigga's Day, another friggin' mother goddess. Maybe it's where you get the word friggin'. I don't know about that. But that's another mother deity, which is what this place pushes as well. That's why it's known as the Hall. It's not why it's known as the Hall. That encompasses another one of the image of the Hall. And you also have we've done through all the days Saturn. There you are.
And that's the image of the beast too, you know? The doctrines, philosophy, the ideologies, you know, the actual system itself, which goes into spirituality, because it's a strong delusion sent from Yahawah Yahawashi. That's his counsel, man. Again, because he's that spiritual power, but he's created this earth for himself, and he's sent that for prophecy's sake. Alright?
This is the book of Psalm chapter 24 and verse 1. The earth is Yahawah's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. And that's why it's talking about co-heirs, being co-heirs with Yahawashi. So he wants to put a chip in all the nations. Well, the nations are our inheritance, Lord willing. So what right do you have? You weren't endowed that by the law, but truly you were on the left-hand side. But it's always set up that in the kingdom, the nations will be possessed. Whether you get offended, whether you get shook, you don't want to teach it, whether... It don't matter, man. Blessed is he that's not offended in me. It's Matthew 11 and 6 says. I know.
And John 16 and 1 as well. So you good. And John 16 and 1 as well. You know? Not to be offended, man. And there's going to be a lot of persecution for this. Man.
I'll read it, you can break it down. Yeah. John, this is the book of St. John, chapter 16 and verse 1.
Alright.
These things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended.
Right.
They shall put you out of the synagogues.
Right. They will put you out of the synagogue, which goes inside the councils and everything. Go ahead.
I know I've been speaking a lot, but sin means to come together, like you have the word synergy or synergistic.
Okay.
So SYN, sin, and goga, it means means to gather together. So synagogue truly means to gather together, like where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name. This is the church. We don't need a damn fancy building with Edomite, Petra-looking, Mount Seir, collars us.
Where no one can even hear it out the streets.
Because the Lord doesn't dwell in that. The Lord doesn't dwell in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. Alright, so we've got St. John chapter 16 and verse 2, and I will shut up. St. John 16 and 2, they shall put you out of the synagogues, yea, the time cometh, that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth Yahawah's service.
Right? The time when we're teaching this truth right here, man. The truth is that everything was set up for the saints to possess the kingdom, man. For us to get our chastisement from going wicked, and then while the wicked do what the wicked do and the Most High decrees it, it's all for what? It's all for the kingdom to be in our hands,
so
man.
For prophecy's sake.
There you go.
Which is for the elect's sake, which is for Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi's namesake.
That's right. Everything is for Yahweh's namesake overall, you know. When you read it up, it's like an umbrella. Ultimately, it's for his name. And his name, his sham, goes into his fame, his glory, everything. And it says they're going to kill us. They think they're going to do, they're serving the Most High God. And the word for service there is the word latreia. You know, when you see the word idolatry, that suffix, latreia, is going to the word latreia, which means the ultimate worship, to like give highest reverence to, you know. There you go. Monolatry, yeah, it's a good one. Mono, singular worship, as they say. Or I believe
monobrow, a monocle.
Right.
Yes, fucking soundbite that. A monocle, alright? Throwing up a damn hand sign. I didn't mean to do that, salaki. But when you have a monocle, one like glasses, but on one side in it.
Right. Back to Revelation 13. It says in verse 8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. You want to go into that?
Read that one more time.
And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
So literally all, man, everyone is gonna have to follow after this image, unless they're of the elect of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and whoever is preserved to serve Israel in the kingdom, because they're going to be we've said it, man. I said what I said, as they say. Alright, and all them that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, and who's him? Is that beast. And why is that? Because America, which is Mystery Babylon the Great, the divided states of America, Mystery Babylon the Great, the damn whore, the whore, they're gonna make everyone worship the image of the first beast. It talks about that as we get later on in this chapter, right? It says, verse 9, Revelation 13 and 9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
And who were the saints? We read it, the Israelites, man. So if you're a saint, you should be patiently waiting for those that took us in captivity to go into captivity. That's the will of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, man. This is all for our chastening and for our learning. And we're going to have to be tried in that fire, man.
What's that scripture that said he didn't do it to just kill us, but he did it to chasten us?
Oh, it's in Baruch actually.
Do you mind putting that?
I'll find it.
This is a revelation. Well, we'll leave it. So that's it. In the context, it's talking about who? It's talking about Rome. So have you ever tried and spin it? Well, the Arabians did it too. Well, Rome did. And it's talking about Rome. It's talking about the Edomitic world system. The 7 heads, of course, NATO. The 10 horns, EU. And I think that's his namesake in there, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll keep reading
it. It's like it. But I've got a scripture anyway.
Yeah.
Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. Alright? So again, now we're in our captivities, we know who we are, man. Because we're going through these curses, man. And we bear witness that we're the children of Israel, man. Through our faith.
The Spirit bears witness.
The Spirit bears witness, man.
Same brothers, you right?
Cool.
Yeah.
I recognise you from down out to go to Roscoe Centre.
Okay. Yeah.
Marcus.
Yeah.
I recognise you from in there.
Okay.
Moses.
Yeah. Michelle.
Yeah. Benjamin.
Okay. You're Benjamin, tribal Benjamin. Yes, sir. Oh, your name is Benjamin.
Yeah.
And you're the tribal
Benjamin, yeah.
That's good. Man, Yamyan, the son of the right.
Yeah, how you doing?
Son of the right. And
yeah.
How are you?
Oh, good, man. Yeah.
Just
battling, just enjoying stuff.
Guys, you mind getting that? This is the condition of the battle. And also, it says second Ezra. I think it says second Ezra 7.
Second Ezra, yeah.
It's a heavy book, that.
Just me.
Enough meat in it.
I got all them books, everything.
Yeah. So, what about the, you deal with like Joshua and stuff like that?
Yeah.
What do you think about the one where it says like, Joshua 36 chapter?
Let me drop that and get that. I believe I have it.
Yeah, we'll allow that. Pick it up, it's lucky. Decency in order. Get too excited.
Are you in that group chat?
Do you have Joshua on your phone? If not, I can get it up as well.
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, you pulling it back?
Yeah.
Alright.
I've got all the books I want.
Just to let you know that we've got a video. I don't know if you're video.
I don't have down to it.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying we're on now.
Oh, yeah, now.
So just the book of Joshua, chapter 81 and verse 40. And when the children of Israel had entered the sea, the Egyptians came after them, and the waters of the sea resumed upon them, and they all sank in the water, and not one man was left, excepting Pharaoh, who gave thanks to the Lord and believed in him. Therefore the Lord did not cause them to perish at that time with the Egyptians. So that's what the Bible, that's what Joshua says, okay?
Yeah.
But the Bible doesn't actually say that. Oh, it says that Pharaoh did get destroyed in that sea. You know, did that? So the book of Joshua contradicts the Holy Bible, you know?
Yeah.
So it talks about overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea. Psalm 136. His mercy endureth forever.
I like chapter 50. No, about Sabbath.
Psalm.
Speaking of Sabbath.
Psalm 50.
No,
Joshua. I don't even know.
50th chapter.
Okay.
Tells you about the Sabbath and more entitled to keeping it. So, staying with the right thing. You know, that's what it's supposed to be doing.
To lay with the one.
No, you don't.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was about to say. Psalm 136. This is 15. Psalm 136, 15. But overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever.
So he overthrew Pharaoh and all the other hosts, alright? He's in the Red Sea. So this thing he survived, that's a lie, man. So the book of Joshua, that's one leaven, and according to the Bible, a little leaven with the whole lump. Okay? So that's just the one thing to show that the book of Joshua is actually adding to the scriptures, and that would be a big problem. According to Revelation 22
And Deuteronomy 42. Yeah. But I was going to say, well, what do you call the Most High?
Well, everyone you meet, like Hebrews and stuff, they all have different names and things like that. And I used to think about it a lot, and like, because obviously I am that I am in James. So obviously in the Hebrew, it seems to say higher.
So
I used to call him that.
You do? Or you used to?
Now I normally just call him Heavenly Father, because it's like when you love God, you you don't want to call him what his name is, so I kind of like avoid respect. Because I've seen so many different people and been around so many different Israelites calling them different names. I don't want to get it wrong. You know what I mean?
That's what
So I just call him the Heavenly Father, like my forefathers.
but they use his name. They use his actual name. So that's Yahawah, and his son's name Yahawashi. So when you go to
it's like Joshua, that is his name, Yahawashi.
Joshua, his name's Yahawashi.
And his name, Joshua is translated from the Greek into the New Testament, like in Hebrews 7:45, it says Jesus. It's because they have
Acts 7:45.
What did I say?
Hebrews.
Oh, that's not my bad.
Because you were talking about the Hebrew. But this is Exodus chapter 3 and verse, we'll start at 14 if you don't mind. Exodus 3 and 13. And Moses said unto halalyam, behold, when I am coming to the children of Yahawah, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? I'll just read it verbatim. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am, hath sent me unto you. So people just sort of close the book there, and it's not wrong with getting an excerpt or whatever, but to read on, the context actually tells you, it says, and God moreover said unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever. This is my memorial of all generations. So you can say the God of Jacob, and what did he say there? He said the Lord God of your fathers. So you've got a higher, a short, a higher. We don't say that, it doesn't say that. But in the next verse it says the Lord God. You go into that word, Yahawah, in the Masoretic text. You also have, if you get Joel 3, you have Jehoshaphat. Do you know what Jehoshaphat is?
Jehoshaphat. I can't remember.
Okay. So you have the word shapat, like I can't think of any words, but it means a judgment. So judgment is or a decision. It's got the value of the Lord's decision. I think it says that verbatim in the King James. But when you go into that Jehoshaphat, it goes into the word. It goes into Yahawah Shapat, the judgment of Yahawah. So if it was a higher, then it would say a higher Shapat surely, or even Yahawah there. That means to praise. Or to praise him, it's talking about the existence of the Lord. Well, why is he not called a higher there? So when you go into Jehoshaphat, you have to do the even when you go to the Septuagint, it renders it as in the Greek. When you read it, it just says Jehoshaphat. It tells you or Shaphat, something like that, something fucking weird and Hellenistic. But anyway,
this is Joel 3:2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. I will plead with them, there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and departed my land.
and if can you go into the Hebrew in front?
Yeah, I'll just start showing you.
You said, is it?
Good food, that word there.
I just get this.
Right?
I just get this real quick.
Yeah, Yahawashi Shabbat. So it breaks down to the name Yahawah and the word Shabbat. Look, to judge the government, to vindicate, to punish. Now this means Yahawah has judged. Yahawah's government. So it would say Yahawah, but if that was the name, but it's not his name. Clearly, it says Yahawashi Shabbat. That's the conjunction of the two words.
And this is Proverbs chapter 18 and 10, and it says, the name of Yahawah, or it says the Lord verbatim, but when you go to the Masoretic, it's Yahawah. The name of Yahawah is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is saved. So when all hell breaks loose, you want to make sure you're calling on the right name. And not only the right fame and reputation, like if you're calling on Yahawah and you're still talking about Christian doctrines, then that's not the name, because it's not the fame or reputation. You know what I mean? You say, yo, that brother made a name for himself. Why is that? Because he's done great works. Yahawah did great works in drowning the Damadutras. So that's how he made his name known. And I'd say one more thing, you know about lineups. You know they're unlawful to get like a sort of, how would you say, a shape up? What's the term for it? Yeah, line up or a shape up. If you get Leviticus,
I got it. Book of Leviticus, chapter 19.
Meaning the heart.
Yeah.
And verse 27. You shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shall thou mar the corners of thy beard. Right?
So not shaving.
Yeah. No, basically, no making zero cuts, shaving out the edges all around. You know what I'm saying? Including the beard.
It's the same. You can't get a line up on your beard that's talking about mark the corners, but the edges. Read it again for me.
It says Leviticus 19:27. You shall not round the corners of your head.
So round the corners. People say, should I round it off or should I box it off? That's what it's talking about.
Yeah,
You're not
round
meant to.
it off.
Yeah, like you know how you got that bit round and then that bit sort of straight and that bit sort of straight, sort of thing like that. It's unlawful. Like it's not. Obviously, we're not saved by the law. Ultimately, we're all going to slip up. We're not saying we're sinless, so we'll be liars. But ultimately, whenever you see your brother like erring, you have to correct him. Otherwise, it's hatred. You know what I mean? So it's just to offer that to say, well, this is what the law says.
Come across them and
Okay. Right. So what do you make of that? Do you think that's talking about like?
Well, a lot of the lads that I used to be around in each shape of beard or somebody put the hair used to lock up.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
The dreadlocks also, that's something you're supposed to avoid. Like, they're supposed to bear the image of the priesthood. So like, if I did that, if I did that, should be
Leviticus 26, and do you know get Leviticus 21 and 15?
Leviticus chapter 21, I think it's 5. Leviticus 21 and 5, they shall not make boldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. Alright?
That's tattoos.
Alright.
Cutting in the flesh is read that again.
Leviticus chapter 21,
What's the century?
verse 5.
I know.
They shall not make boldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. Okay? So again, make boldness. If you was to line up, that's making boldness. Because they're like changing the line from here. And it's really just vanity, you know? There's no need for it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Leviticus 10 and 5, well, so that's 6. It said, and Mashah said, I'll just read it, and Moses said unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar his son, uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die, lest wrath come upon all the people, but let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahawah hath kindled. When you get to the word uncover, it's going to the word harai. It's sort of talking about making it, letting it loose, or just letting it do what it's like free form. That's literally what you're doing. It doesn't mean
you have to make a conscious effort to like get dreadlocks. You don't have to like, if you want to put your fingers in your hair, you have to say, nah, I want dreadlocks. You naturally form dreadlocks. I say natural is not really natural. You know what I mean? You're gonna want to put your fingers in your hair, you want to touch yourself. It's actually okay with dreadlocks. I used to have dreadlocks, so I used to like I didn't even realize so I'd cut them off. I'm in Lincoln Jones, I used to get loads of dandruff and like some of the soap was still there. I was like, oh man, it's unclean. So both of those are off. You can get braids with one one, that's different.
Listen, lads. Yeah.
Shalom.
Where was it?
We're in Revelation 13. If I recognize I better not get copyright strike on the music video. Anyway.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11.
Yeah, here we are now. Beautiful.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Yep.
Okay.
And what's the word dragon then?
The word for like a fiery serpent, like a.
What's the Greek word if you know?
Oh shoot, I don't even know.
Dracon.
Oh, draconian. Okay.
And you also, well, you have the man Draco. They put in draconian measures, but the Draco, it means dragon. Literally means dragon. I believe it's a Greek word, so it's carried over into the Latin. Like, who was it? You know, on that comment board yesterday, and they were saying Jesus is a Roman name, a Latin name. Well, it's not. It comes from the Greek. Right. That goes into prove that a lot of the Roman customs that came from Greek, a lot of the Roman language to some extent, you obviously had Latin, but some Latin words, loan words from Greek, just like English does.
Right, they like passed down, right, from Greek down to Latin, to English.
And that's sort of them causing them to worship the image of the first beast, or worshipping the first beast.
Right.
So I'll get Daniel 7 and... Have we gone into that? No. Real quick. 17 and 11, please. No, what?
13 and 11. and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. From the dust came America, two horns like a lamb. Now we notice that the horns resemble like two divisions or hills of empire, the two kind of groups of like rulers, right? Right? So there was the plebeians, and the I always forget. Patricians, is that what?
Patricians? Oh yeah. That's where you get the word patriarchy. It's where the name Patrick goes back to.
Right? And those are two horns of America, man.
So who would you have today?
Oh, we'd have the what is it?
The Democrats.
Hey man, I don't even know.
The Democrats. who would link up to the plebs there. Also, like you'd have Labour in the UK. Obviously, it's not an exact, but if we were to draw a similitude, that's what it'd be. It'd be Labour. They were the more lowly ones, the plebeians, and you'd have who were also known as the Whigs in late Renaissance England. You had the Whigs and you had the Tories. And that now goes into the Labour and Conservative. It's all the same thing, man. Plebeians, patricians, and so you've got the Democrats, and then the patricians would be the Republicans. Can't remember what I was going to say about that. Oh yeah. And the Conservatives would link up with the Republicans and the patricians. But there's a lot in this book, man. You can't expect to remember everything. But I thought you knew all things, brother. Keep going. Daniel chapter 7 and 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the horns that were before it, and it had 10 horns. So, what? Salakia. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. Sorry. Salakia. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Right? So the 10 horns, obviously that's going into the EU, the European nation states, and that correlates with Revelation 13 and 1, which we've already gone into. Okay. But now, it says, Daniel 7 and 8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. Before, I think we went into that because we talked about the three. It says another little horn, and that's not correlating with the Daniel 8 chapter, which some people try to say because it talks about the...
trying to say it's Turkey or whatever.
Yeah, the little horn waxing exceedingly great, because it tells you about that. And in the context, it tells you who everyone is pretty much in the chapter verbatim. Not everyone, but pretty much. If you know who this is, you know who this is. You can sort of link it together if the Spirit is working with you, the Spirit of Yahawah.
If Yahawah is working with you, if He's dealing with you. If He's not, then you're as good as gone, man. Go ahead.
This is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Even a look that was more stout than his fellows.
That's right, that's America, man. More stout than his fellows, more abundant. Isn't that what America's like? Everyone looks up to America, man. Nobody looks to Saudi Arabia for jack shit. Okay, nobody does that. People go to America and they think they're in a place where it has loads of merchandise, alright? So much to do, it just has so much. You can think of something that it's right there. It's awesome. You know?
Yeah.
All that, man. It's more stout than all the other kingdoms. Because even though it's expansion of Rome, it's the kingdom that's been established now that as a whore, man. And the scriptures calls it a well-favored harlot. Okay, that's in Habakkuk chapter 2. So go ahead.
Well-favored harlot, because everyone loves it. It's a whore, but everyone still wants to bet it.
Yeah, man.
Or beat it. For you England brothers. Alright, Daniel chapter 7 and verse... Daniel chapter 7 and verse 20. And of the... You believe in the Bible? You believe in the Bible?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to come and talk about it? Do you want to come and talk about it?
Well, do you believe it?
Yeah, absolutely, that's why we're out here.
Oh, yeah. We're Christians.
Yeah, we're the true Christians.
We're followers of Christ.
Children of Israel.
Right.
No.
We're followers of Christ, right.
Oh, yeah. Which church are you from?
We're from the Church of Yahawashi.
That's right.
We don't mean down Ashan. We're from we're the
lost
Israelites.
tribe of Israel.
Yeah.
Well, I've come across you in Manchester.
In Manchester.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of it then?
Well, I believe what the Bible teaches, the 12 tribes of Israel.
So who are they today?
Well, I'm under the Gentiles now. Apostle Paul preached to the Gentiles.
What type of Gentiles?
All races.
All races?
Everybody.
Alright, but who are the Corinthians, for example?
But,
Who are the Corinthians?
well, they're around the biblical time.
Yeah, but
the Apostle
what
Paul,
nation were they? What nation were they?
Well, we're followers of Jesus.
What nationality, what
The
ethnicity?
Israelites?
Well, we're all Israelites. We're grafted into the olive
You're
tree.
grafted in?
Yeah.
But that talks about the wild olive tree that's grafted
Oh,
in.
yeah.
So who's
I've
the,
been grafted
who's
in.
the, who's the olive tree?
Well, Jesus, the olive tree.
Well, let's go into it.
Well, I'm not here to argue, really.
But it says debate thy cause with thy neighbour. Are we not your neighbour?
Well, yeah,
talks about-
God is love.
Right? It talks about in Jude 1 and 3. It talks about contending for the faith.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
I've been imprisoned in Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, we're being followed by the police now. A few of us have been arrested. We're suffering for Christ.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I'm on my way home now, so I'm not here to argue.
But are you not, why have you got this big sign on you?
Well, I've got a sign, yeah.
If you're not ready to defend the gospel?
Well, I'm here to defend. I've been in prison many times for the gospel, so
okay, so
let's talk about it. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ.
Okay,
I'm out every day.
Let's talk about it.
Well, I'm here to preach to the
Do you mind showing your sign to the camera?
To the camera.
Well, I'm not.
It's okay.
You can cover your face or whatever.
Yeah,
just the sign.
It's okay.
I'm not ashamed of the gospel.
So can you show it?
No, I'm saying, can you show your sign to the camera?
Well, I'm not into technology. I don't go on the internet. Right?
No, it's just here. It's just here. The internet is here. If you just want to show it.
God bless.
Psalms 31, is it? Whether you drops your
Sure.
Oh, well, it would have been worse if it was that big. If it was that far.
I'm better.
Yeah.
Psalm 31, you said.
Let me get a picture of that. So that's the guy, man. It says, he's got a big sign on him, whosoever believeth in the Lord shall be saved. Sorry to get you on there. I'm just getting that guy on it. Anyway. He's not ashamed of the gospel though.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes 12:1 at front as well, the front of him.
Yeah.
Is it Psalm 31?
Yeah. Is it? The
Proverbs
wicked flee,
28:1.
28.
I was like, are you sure about that? Proverbs 28:1. The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as a lion.
So he was in prison. We're not trying to run upon him and trying to get him in prison. We're just trying to talk about the gospel.
I want to know what the hell Esau did to get in prison.
What did you do?
The hell did you do? You must have done something real bad, man, if you ask going in jail.
Smacked someone with an idol of Caesar Borgia or something. What the hell did you do, man? What?
It's like,
But he's not ashamed of the gospel. Anyway, let's get into it. You distracted me.
yeah, man, Revelation 13.
I distracted me, I'll be honest.
I was staring at him the whole time. I had a feeling he was going to do something. Revelation 13 and verse 12. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. Excuse me. So America, like the beast that rose up out of the dust of the earth, okay? The two horns like a lamb, okay? That's America. And it says, and he, America, exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So like Brother Mashah said, man, he's gonna cause all the other nations, everybody, to worship that image and all the doctrines and the ideologies and the whole, well, the image, man. The image means, the word there is icon in Greek. Where'd you get the word icon from, right? The icon of the of Rome, meaning the likeness or resemblance of Rome, right?
And that's where you get into the ideology, the doctrine, the philosophy, the way
Right.
of life. That's not the mark, man. The
Right.
mark is what? The physical RFID microchip that they want to implant
That's right.
in your forehead or in your right hand.
That's
If you
right.
take it, you'll die. Don't take
If you
it.
take the
Don't
RFID,
take the RFID
microchip, you're gonna
man.
die. Jake,
Anyway,
Revelation.
I'll read it. Can you close out when this, not close out, but can you go through this one?
Go ahead.
Yep. All right. Revelation 13 and 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth. What are you even beeping at? Oh, no. Anyway, Revelation 13 and 13. And he doeth great wonders. Oh, no. Yeah. His deadly wound was healed. What's that talking about?
Oh, it's like, that's, the 1,000-year period in the bottomless pit, which is Europe, all right? All you gotta do is type in GMS, go into Revelation breakdowns, you'll get that understanding, right? You're not gonna get any Esau's, Yahawah's breakdowns of the bottomless pit. That's gonna, at least, if they do, they're not gonna correlate, all right? The bottomless pit is talking about Europe, all right?
Why is it known as the bottomless pit?
Because there ain't shit out here, man. There's no natural resort. I fucking hate being here, man. I fucking hate this place, all right?
That's why you have to import. You have to import literally everything, man. Everything. You have.
This land don't cultivate things. You have to redecorate this place. Anybody trying to do that.
And that's
man.
where the word cult comes from. So
Right.
are we not cultivating through the spirit of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi?
We're sowing up them spiritual foods, man.
But what did you say?
Ruining the fruits of righteousness, right? Because we're those trees, man.
He used to fight every time. You're too quick. I was about to fit. I was about to split him and then I'm gone. Anyway, what did you just say? Research of the Byzantine Empire.
Right.
What did you just say, man?
About the trees cultivating.
That's the
man.
flesh. That's why I need a new body. And my knees are hurting. My foot are hurting. I've not even walked anywhere. I've only been stood here like 20 minutes.
I got these flat feet. I'm dying out here, man. I gotta walk home and shit, man.
We need new bodies, man.
That's
That's why we
right.
pray
The
for
confusion of
deliverance.
faith is twofold, man. Right now, we go around, we're talking to brothers, they're like, who the fuck are these Indians or whatever? They don't know, they think, obviously they don't say Elamites, but most time we just look like Elamites with woolly beards. That's what we look like out here. That's
I don't look
shame,
like
man.
an Elamite, just to clarify. Maybe I do. Anyway, right, Salakia. Got all that. Revelation 13, and
Right?
everyone was healed. Yeah, the Byzantines, then they usurped it, they supplanted it. So
Right.
Esau grabbed it, he did a Yahawashi upon us. He Yahawashi the Yahawashi. Alright, it says in the Revelation 13, and you doeth great wonders, so that you make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Right, so what is America known for? It's like it's nuclear might that it has, right? And it's got
Hold on,
embassies
brother.
across all land.
Ain't the Arabs known for blowing people up?
The Arabs, bro.
Brother, be serious, man.
No, alright.
He's confounded,
No,
brother. I confounded Iowa.
The Americans, all right, they're the ones who are Oppenheimer and stuff working on these nuclear bombs. They bring fire down the side men. That's like a great wonder to people. Like, whoa.
That's a miracle on the left hand. It's miraculous.
That's right,
It's a
man.
sinister miracle. Look up the word sinister. It means left-handed.
Beautiful, right? It's so clear, man. It's so clear that all these things are coming and they're in front of you. But hey, man, like we said it a few times now. If the Most High doesn't want to deal with you, He won't make you have understanding. He won't help you and guide you with spiritual might because He don't give a damn. You're not being, you're prideful as hell, and you're after diverse lusts. He's not working with you, man. All right, go ahead.
And that goes for the Christian church. It's not just Israel. We get on the Christian
Yeah,
church.
of course.
And it's not just for the Christian church. It also goes for Israel.
Right.
Someone's got to be right. Someone's got to be wrong. Someone has to be a heretic.
Someone has to be a heretic, and somebody has to be rejected and avoided, man.
Let's get 1 Corinthians 11 and 19, then we'll get back into this.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 19. It says, "For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you." Okay? And Yahawah, we're the ones that are made manifest, right? Made manifest among those damn heresies, man. And the ones that scoff at us and talk other shit on the comment board ticking away. Woe unto you, man. Woe unto you, bro. Go ahead, man.
It's Revelation, he's a ticking away. Revelation 13 and 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. Miracles! What's the word for miracles, please?
I got you.
Thou Greek scholar, thou.
Is it Revelation 13 and 8?
14.
14? God damn. What's that thinking? Revelation 13 and 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on earth by the means of those miracles. And the word for miracles is Strong's G 4592.
Say properly.
Strong's G 4592. Semyon, okay? Semyon, okay? This word right here means a sign, a token, a mark, okay? That by which a person or a thing is distinguished from others and is known. So a sign or something to then transcend to people to understand like it's like this is what makes them what they are, man. It says a miracle and wonders by which the Most High authenticates the men sent by Him. Sometimes the right hand side, just like He said, is sinister. It's the left hand side, man.
What is that?
I don't know.
Anyway, sorry.
It's all good. Signs portending remarkable events soon to happen. Sometimes there'll be a sign of something. So this is a sign for people to then be. Oh, it says to deceive them. Read it again. It says deceive, right?
Yep, this is Revelation 13 and 14. And he deceiveth them that
Right.
dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Right. So he deceived those by those miracles, by the sign that is given. It deceives them because they're going to look upon that sign and think, this is a sign for me to get down with this. If they're not geared up, if they're not rooted in the word, man. You know what I'm saying? I believe let me try something, right? You talk while I find something. So I just want to see something.
I was going to say that concerning signs, I'm not sure what the Greek word is when going to the Septuagint, but it talks about in the plain English KJV, verbatim, it says, "And the curses shall be upon us for a sign and for a wonder and upon thy seed forever." So the curses were a sign. That's why I said, well, he said he's an Israelite. How can you be an Israelite if you grafted in? He said he was a Gentile, but now he's an Israelite. I know we have Israelite Gentiles, but how can a Gentile be a Gentile but now be an Israelite?
Right.
You never changed. They were still Gentiles. They were carried away unto dumb idols, So they were Gentiles, they are Gentiles. We're Gentiles. We're of the nations. We were in that, but now we've been grafted in, so we've come back to our heritage. You can be a Gentile Israelite, meaning an Israelite that's in the ways of the Gentiles, repent and come back to the customs of your forefathers. And it doesn't mean four people, it means the fathers that came before you, your lineage. But you can't turn back from an Elamite into an Israel. So Yahawah, brother, sorry, brother.
Sorry.
You can't turn from an Edomite into an Israelite.
Right.
You can't graft an Edomite tree into an Israelite tree.
Right.
And the wild olive tree, that's what I went to get, but he's not ashamed of the gospel.
Yeah.
Wanted to get into, well, what's the olive tree? It talks about a wild olive tree. Jeremiah 11 and 16. Jeremiah 11 and 15 to 16 talks about how the olive tree is Israel. So how are you grafted in if Israel is talking about the wild olive tree, grafted into the olive tree? Well, you're not even of the olive tree. Well, maybe you are. But if you're not, if you're saying you're a Gentile, non-Israelite, you can't be grafted in. So that's talk the truth.
And we're not ashamed to say that, man. We're not sorry, you know what I mean? We're not sorry for the truth. It is what it is, man. Alright? And the truth is, when we're in authority, righteousness will be established, alright? No more fucking sorrow cut for us, man.
Do you guys love me?
Oh, man. I just want to make a point real quick, alright? Genesis 9 and 12. And the Most High said, "This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations." So if you go into that, that's what the Most High said to Noah. And it said, "This is the token." That word there is that same Greek word for the sign and miracle. Alright? That same word again is the Strong's G 4592. Semeon.
How do you pull that? You can get that in Greek.
You know that?
That's going to change it. That's going to change
real.
things.
It's going to change the game. Alright, so Semeon, alright? So that's what it was. It was a sign for us to know that there's not going to be a flood to destroy the earth. The Most High is going to purify this earth with fire now. Okay? And we're going to be purified in fire because adversity is going to come our way. And Yahawah, we have the faith and endurance up to the end, man. You know? Because that's when we're given the crown of life. Go ahead.
Can you get that? Can you pull that up to sacred Old Testament? That would fully change it. That'd be like the apostolic polygon. I think the second Kings 4 and 15 also talks about the baptism, and Jeremiah 21 and 4 talks about the baptism in the Greek. Not to throw off topic, but just to show that when you go into the Greek, it just brings it out more. Brother was saying, well, where's there a baptism unto Moses? They did, don't worry, we'll work out. Some point, Lord will.
Yeah, that was a sign, a token, right? Okay. And,
This is yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was actually really it. I pretty much said what I had to say.
Right.
Go ahead.
Revelation 13 and 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast.
They should do what?
Make an image to the beast.
Why they should make a likeness to resemblance to the beast, which is the doctrines and ideologies.
So
Because the beast is a kingdom.
It's not a picture of Caesar.
No, it's not a picture of Caesar Borgia.
But that goes into it because that's part of his ideology,
right, of course, but
philosophy. But it's
the
not
image
solely
of the beast
that.
is not specific.
It's just like the mark of the beast is a sin, but the mark of the beast is not sin itself.
Right.
Right, so I'll read that again. Revelation 13 and 14. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right.
So Caesar Borgia is not popping out the woodwork like, hey guys, and then trying to kill people. He's talking about the philosophy, the ideology. Because if you don't get down with it, what did he? Well, he came down like a dragon, like a dragon. He's done that before, and he'll do it again.
Right. To speak refers it to
trouble.
when it's speaking, it's manifesting. You know, and there's actually a correlation with that in Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So though it may seem like a slow process, it comes as a thief in the night, man. And bit by bit, it's just gonna come up and just, you know, all hell's gonna fucking break loose eventually, man.
If you get 1 Thessalonians 5:5,
Stop.
you'll get back into rev. You want to drink?
No, good. It won't make a difference, trust me. First, it'll happen in a few seconds, like I throat. Is that what you're referring to? Okay.
Maybe.
1 Thessalonians 5:5. We are all the children of light and the children of day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. And that's obviously, well, I know you wanted to actually, you wanted the word. Verse 4, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
There you go. Salah.
There you go. Yeah, back to Revelation 13.
Revelation 13 and 14, I'll read it just again, then I'll read through. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live, and he had power to give life into the image of the beast.
Yeah,
cool.
man.
Not bad. Just to let you know on video.
Yeah, man. Do a little bit of preaching and stuff.
Yeah.
Funny, right?
You hear it?
Go on.
All right. So let's drop Revelation for now. Let's get milk curses, stuff like that. And then someone's. What do you know about the Bible?
Not the general stuff. Jesus did Adam fucked up. And then from there, innit? Don't really. I know most things, innit? Just if you ask them now.
Okay, so what nation is it for? What nation was it penned by, and what nation was it given to? Jerusalem. What nation is it?
I don't know.
The children of Israel. Do you know who they are today? No. So-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. So we'll go into this, we'll prove it. Deuteronomy 28 and 1.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently.
Hearken, so hearken, it means to hear. It's an old English word. It's like, yo, listen to me, and this will happen to you.
Unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
All nations again? Yeah, hold on, I thought Jesus was everybody. I thought he was for everyone. Why is he talking about all nations? If you do this, you'll be set high above. I thought we're all equal, brother.
Yeah. I know
So
what
I'm
you're
there?
saying. I know what you're saying.
What I'm there?
I know what you're saying.
Drop that Deuteronomy 7 and 6, and then Deuteronomy 10, 15, and Deuteronomy 14 and 2. I'll get them.
Deuteronomy chapter 6, I'll get 14 and 2. I'll get that one. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's
All right.
racist, man. He said above all people.
It's not.
Brother,
It's
above.
not.
No, it can't mean that. It can't mean that. It has to mean above, like, maybe they're taller than all people. It can't mean that. Yeah.
Deuteronomy 14 and 2.
I get this verse. Deuteronomy 10 and 15. Only the Lord Yahawah. So the Lord named the Most High's name is Yahawah. Only the Lord had delight in their fathers to love them, and He chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Can you mean that? God's not racist. He doesn't choose one people over another, does He? Yes, He does. Read 14 and 2.
Deuteronomy 14 and 2. This is even more clear. Watch this. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God.
So the holy, when you go to the word holy in Hebrew, so the word kodash means to be separate, set apart. So we're not separate. So we're not meant to
consecrate yourself. Separate.
Segregation. With segregation, separation are different things. But either way, He didn't make all nations together. He talks about when He divided, He separated the sons of. We won't get it now for time's sake, but yeah, read that again.
Deuteronomy 14 and 2. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth.
So now we've said, well, this nation, we got to know who this nation is, man.
Right.
If this whole Bible is saying, well, these people are superior, they're above it, well, who are they? So let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 15.
Right. Because you wouldn't say that right now there's a people, a nation that's established on earth that's showing true holiness, that's ruining everyone. Hell no, right? It's confusion everywhere, right? So this is why, watch, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So he said, if you listen, go ahead. If you're not listening, we're going to smack you. They're going to lick you different. That's we've been licked different as a people. So I'm saying this is our people, Black, Hispanic, and Native. We're all of one body. Meaning not one body, like, and all Hebrew Israelites are one body, but we're all one people. That's what I mean by that. the elect. Now there's a certain group within that people that are one body, as in one agreement or one accord. But the whole book is about certain people. So let's get 37.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment.
Astonishment. Wow, look at them there. Look how quick him run. Look how he ducked the ball there. Ooh. You see him score a goal like that? Astonishment, read.
A proverb.
If you want to hide something from a black man, what does it say? Put it in a book. That's what it says. That's a proverb, isn't it? A proverb, read.
And a byword.
A byword, nigger, negro, African American, Jamaican. Where you from? Violin.
What?
Violin.
Caribbean?
Which one?
Jamaican.
Jamaican, Haitian, St. Kitts, what do you say? Kittian, Nevishan. All of them, they're bywords. They're not a real national. Anything outside of Israelite, that's a byword. Where are you
That's
from? Oh, I'm black. I'm so, well, what does Caribbean mean? The Caribs. The Caribs are people. Jamaica means, if I'm not mistaken, the land of wood and water.
Yeah.
Well, who are we? Wood and water. And the word wood, what does wood mean? Wood goes back to Odin, which is what Wednesday is named after. It's another one of them fake Greek gods, Roman gods even. Let's get drop that. Get.
You have to do the last one.
40.
Come a little brother from freaking school.
Let's get all right. Get 48.
48.
48 and 54. I'm gonna have to give you 3, man.
Give me
Three
man.
for the price of 1.
Oh, man.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
Alright, so who did the so-called black man serve?
What?
Read it.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee
So
in
the Lord
hunger.
sent, the Lord sent a certain people against another people to afflict
That's right.
them. Where's God? Where he sent them? Read.
Everything that's going on is from the Most High.
That's right.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness.
So in hunger and thirst, well, where do we get our food from? We could say, oh, yo, Marcia, nice meal. Where did she get it from? Because she didn't have a farm, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe Alaska, but she didn't have a farm.
Right.
In hunger and in thirst, well, where do we get our water supply from? Buxton, who did that? Buxton, is he a so-called black man? Is he a so-called Hispanic? Is he a Native American? No.
All right.
Still working.
I am still working.
God.
All right.
So you got that.
Yeah. Go from here.
Buxton, you've got a water supply from who? The British government. In hunger and in thirst and in what? Nakedness. Well, where did we get these from? Where did you get this from? Black man. So-called black man.
Yeah.
You did. He made it.
No.
He owns the cotton.
No,
There we are.
no,
There we are.
no,
They made us
no,
pick the cotton, but we don't own it.
Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
saying. I know what you're saying.
Hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and what?
And in want of all things,
Uh-huh.
meaning in wants it means to lack all things. So we're lacking all these things.
Uh-huh. Read.
It says, and ye shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he
what?
hath destroyed thee.
The yoke of iron. Pull up that word yoke real quick. Or can you pull that up on your phone?
Yoke.
If you search up yoke of iron, Y-O-K-E of iron. And this is in your King James Bible, man. Everyone and their grandma's got one of these. Yeah, Y-O-K-E of iron. Go on images. Right, do you mind showing the camera as well? Just what comes up.
Black people slaved up, man, chained up, man.
And what did it say? It said that would happen to the Israelites. So let's drop that, let's get 54. And then I've got another one. And then I'll send you another.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you,
So a man that's caring, you know, like you might have to put on a bit of a thing when you're in the street or whatever.
Yeah.
When people do that, but really, you're delicate. Because I seen you, I was shocked with you back in the day.
No, you're not. You're a good
was.
friend.
However,
Nah, man,
however, what happened when hello auntie, kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
Tender and delicate.
Yeah.
Read it.
says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother.
So what's that? So-called black on black violence. Why are these spicks and niggers going against each other? Read.
And toward the wife of his bosom,
So you're gonna have family problems, lowest marriage rate in the world. Who does that consist of? Read.
and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
Who's that, where's your daddy? Who says that? That's going back into being a proverb.
Wow, man.
That's the children. This is in your Bible. Everyone's got this. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. And this is that's just the tip of the iceberg. When we go into that, Yahawashi, with the one in English called Jesus Christ, he came for our people and our people only. Drop that, get Matthew 15:24. And I saw a stretch the truth. I'm going to have to get into it.
Matthew 15 and verse 24. But he answered
Good
and said,
man, fuck!
Matthew 15 and 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Repeat that one more time for me.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24. But he answered and
Show him
said,
the red letter. So red letter means it's so-called Christ, whose name is Yahawashi. So the Most High God is called Yahawah. What's he called? The Most High God is called Yahawah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
God.
Yeah.
Jesus. What?
The Most High God. The everyone calls the Heavenly Father. What's his name? Yahawah. What's his name?
Yahawah.
Yahawah. His son's name is Yahawashi. He's not called Jesus because Jesus goes back to Greek. It's Jesus. That's a Greek name. We're not Greek. His name's Yahawashi. What's his name?
Shout again.
Yahawashi.
Yahawashi.
So the Most High God, Yahawah.
And then Yahawashi.
Yahawashi.
So what's Jesus called?
Yahawashi. And his father was called Yahawah. And he didn't have the name Yahawah, but the name Yahawashi. He said he came in his father's name. He's also talking about reputation, but he's spiritual too. He's talking about that. And then we'll drop that and we'll get Deuteronomy 28:68, because I know I said that. I sort of didn't. Anyway, Deuteronomy 28 and
chapter 28 and verse 68. And Yahawah shall bring thee into Egypt again with
What
ships.
happened in Egypt to the Israelites? Moses went to Pharaoh and said, "What? Let my people go," meaning they were what? Slaves. So Egypt.
Sorry to interrupt. How are you? I'm good, thank you, man. Looking after yourself.
Trying to.
Yeah, man.
Same to you.
So Egypt means bondage. When you go into Exodus 22, it says, "I am the Lord thy God, Yahawah, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage."
Yes.
It says, "I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." And we go to the word, it's what is it? Matazariam. That it means it's bondage,
like
man.
a confined space, double straight.
Daily, weekly.
Lord,
Come on here every
week.
week. I've
Yeah.
seen you come here before.
Oh no, man.
Wow. So you come down here like every Friday and
Let's get Deuteronomy 28:68 again. So remember, Egypt means what? Out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So Egypt's what?
for the
Bondage. What is what bondage?
The
If
reason
you're
why he's
bound,
doing this is because he doesn't want me to give him the scripture, but it's a quick one, alright? That's the reason why it's pretty short, right? Exodus 20 and 2. It says,
I read it.
have you read it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm tripping.
I'm the Lord thy God who brought thee out of the land of
Look,
Egypt.
said
out of the
not
house
even
of
looking
bondage.
at the book. innit?
Deuteronomy 28:68, and then
You've done
read
some
that,
proper
read that.
research into this book,
you
man.
have to.
Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And Yahawah shall bring thee into Egypt or the house of bondage again with ships.
Oh Lord, man. Read that again, verbatim.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
In Egypt meant what? Slavery. Who was enslaved by ships? Jewish man.
I'm
Asking Jewish man. He wants to walk away. He's
confusing me with these things.
Right?
Wow, man.
Astonished at the doctrine, man.
Yeah, read it from the top.
Thou shalt, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee,
So the promised land.
right? Thou shalt see it no more
You're
again.
not going to see. Is chapter on the promised land? Is the hood the promised land? Read.
And there you shall be sold unto your enemies, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
And when you get to the word buy in Hebrew, it's the word qana. Nehemiah 5 and 9 says, "We after our ability have redeemed our brethren the Jews." So when someone got taken slavery, you can pay a price and get them back. No one's going to do that. How are we going to get redeemed? By the blood of Yahawashi. Yeah. So he's already paid the price. First he came back to what's it, slay sin and men. When he's coming back, he's coming to slay men in sin.
Vengeance, that's what it's coming back for. Vengeance, man. Like Hebrew word is Makwan.
Let me give you a couple YouTube channels.
You give me a YouTube channel, I have to be on my way after that, though.
Yeah. The word of your time. The word of your thank you. Search up a couple. Gonna drop a sub, yeah?
Yeah.
So can't get lost. Can't lost. You trust me with your phone, innit?
I trust
Walking
you
away
daily
like
with
that.
my phone.
Yeah, that's it. Stop that.
Done that, yeah? Was it the top one?
Well, I'll give you this one, and then I'll speak to them. this kind of my opinion back to this.
Okay, man, definitely. Wow, man. Good to see you.
Hey, bro, that's the move, man. How you want?
Are you well?
How you want? You see it on the subscription. Nothing is going to happen.
3 years. You want to do what you do, trust me.
Humble spirit.
How willing, man? As in most time willing. Come down here again. We'll see you again. I've been out there. Yeah, very nice.
If anything, best to keep off of it, man.
Yeah.
It's rubbish. It's rubbish.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm not sure now, yeah?
Yo, blessings for them. You have to try the Benjamin.
Huh?
You have to try the Benjamin.
That's right.
He's the son of the right hand.
Son of the right hand. Do that. Alright, man. Respect for that,
Shalom.
though.
See, that's Jake. That's Jake, humble spirit, man.
And that's rare,
that's
actually,
regenerating
for-
to see.
And sometimes oftentimes, you know, when you get that, you know, she's blessed. She's blessed in her humble spirit.
What was I was telling you, Benjamin's just a stiff neck.
Yeah, Bunyan is crazy out here, bro.
But there you have it. You have Lord willing, he could be of the elect. We don't know if we are, but Lord willing, he could.
Yeah, at least we got to
Lord
feed
willing,
the elect if he is, you know.
He talks about how he talks about how the Lord is not unrighteous to forget your I can't remember the paraphrase.
Actually, I'll get that actually before we start. That one
Oh, resume.
Hebrews chapter 10, and I believe it's verse 15. No, it's somewhere here, though. I can tell you that.
Fully fun.
I want to get it though. Now I'm here, it's like, it might even be the other way around instead. Try it again. Salaki, Israel.
Let's get this in.
Hebrews 6 and 10. My bad. It's not 10. Book of Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 10. For the Most High is not unrighteous at all to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have shewed toward his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister.
And that, listen, that's not an excuse, because what does it say about either? Is it Hebrews the 5th chapter? It talks about that.
About what?
I didn't even mention it either. When if you willfully sin after receiving the knowledge of the truth, is there any sacrifice for you? La'ah. I'll paraphrase it anyway. So this is Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 19. Better it is to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He didn't say, nah man, we're not the Israelites, this person is. He didn't say, oh no, it's not called that, it's called Jesus. Yeah. He didn't say that. So that's yeah, man.
It's the Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Okay, and that's the ultimate culmination of that will be Jacob's trouble. Alas, but he should be saved out of it. He is who? He is the elect. The prayer of that number. The prayer of that number, man. I don't want to get caught up in this.
Verse 16. And he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
He causeth all small and great. Small nations? Great nations. Small and great. It's talking about, it's not like it's people, man.
All right.
Individuals. Read again.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Going to the word mark. What mark?
The word mark is the word charagma in Greek, all right? And that is a word which means an etching or a carving, which goes into making cuts, okay? It goes into ritual.
Wait. Hebrews 4:12. What's the word for cut? What's the word for cut?
So the word charagma goes into engraving work, man, okay? And it comes from the word harax. And that word harax, it translates, it's as a stake or a palisade. Someone that you cut through.
And that goes back, it says, it sort of links into grapho. Why is that just going to have all your information on there?
Right.
It can have you, they were just pulling WND some not the alphabet people, but another lot of alphabet and news place in Indiana, talking about how it's going to have power to not power, but it's going to have the ability to make you able to buy and sell. It could have your medical records on there, and I'm surprised they're not pushing the cashless aspect more, man. When you had the Swedes around 2,000-3,000 Swedes took it all, and they were saying, well, it's great, man. Especially cash is no longer king. So look at that 144, that minute 144. Cash is no longer king. So why are they not pushing that? Well, they will, and they're talking about, well, we're pushing some legislation that you're not going to be able to get fired, but according to prophecy, you won't be able to buy or sell. Yes, please. You're right. See, that's spiritual. Why he didn't say, yo, fuck out. He said blessings. Why is that? Because he sees us with the Bible, and that he could be one of the elect. Like we don't want all Israel to just go and die in it. Like Paul said, my heart's desire is for Israel that they might be saved. But we know a lot of our people have to perish. 2/3 in that land, but a lot of our people have to perish, man. And but it's a blessing because they'll come back in the kingdom.
That's right.
They'll come back in the kingdom because we'll have children. Right. And where the Spirit's going to come from? Yeah, the Spirit goes back up.
No, but then they go to the bottomless pit, which is hell, you know.
Acts 17 and 29. For as much then as we are the offspring of Yahawah, we ought not to think that the Godhead is likened to gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device. And what's the word
graven is haragmati, which is the root word haragma, the same word for mark. And it's going to a physical mark to buy or sell with, man. You're not going to go to a store and say, yeah, I'm grafted in, and then they're going to give you some bread. What the fuck, man?
No, sin, make it sin.
Oh, okay. So you know, if you're going in and it's sin, how about this, man? Sin's been around since the garden, right?
Hold on, brother, but the mark is out now.
The mark's out now, allegedly, right?
No, it is. The chip is out, but he hasn't caused all small and great. But America,
right.
As it says in
Caused
Revelation
it all, right?
Oh no, Revelation 17 and 2, he's already made all the nations drunk of his wine. It's sin, it's transgression.
There you go.
So the whole world lieth in wickedness, so the whole world got the mark. I needed to get that.
No, of course. That's a stupid argument, man. How are you buying and selling then if the mark's... It just doesn't make sense, man.
Because we say if the mark's out now, how are you buying and selling? Well, you can say, well, the chip's out now, but it's not caused all.
Right.
By the scriptures, the whore, you would admit that the whore, whoever you think it is, has caused all to sin. The whole world lieth in wickedness, as I just said. So the whole world is in sin. Does that mean we've sinned? We sin, man. Do you keep the law completely holy? And I mean WH rather than HO. Do you keep the law holy? For whosoever offended one part is guilty of it all.
That's right.
Right. Our righteousness is likened to filthy rags.
That's right.
Damn rags, as the brother said. And he said not damn, but it is damn. They're condemned rags. That's what damn means.
Filthy ass rags.
Right. So there, we need a covering greater than that. So it can't be sin, because Paul said sin was it. We brought that out at the start. I don't know. Was it?
It always
video
goes back.
Before?
It literally goes back to the beginning, man.
Declaring the end from the beginning. If you want to get that.
Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10. It says, declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, I will do all my pleasure. Okay?
What is it? It's Psalm 115 and 3.
Right.
But our God is in the heavens, he hath done whatsoever he hath pleased.
Because our people, they're like, why the hell is everything going on the way it is? It's because it pleased him to judge us, man. He wanted to do it because it's righteous.
And Lord willing, we'll try to get that one, Baruch, in the comments.
It's gone. Yeah, Yahawah is out, yeah.
Lord willing. This is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 27. For Yahawah of hosts hath purpose, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? So if it's of the will of the Lord, you can't overthrow it. There's talks about that, I can't remember, in one of the synoptic gospels, it talks about, well, if it's, there's that scripture in Psalms as well. I can't remember where it is exactly, but if it had not been for Yahawah, of hosts that had pleaded our cause, paraphrasing. Yeah, we can go into that.
Yeah, I was getting that.
Yeah. Do you want to go into it?
Yeah. You read it about for sure.
Perfect.
I'm having a problem here with finding C.
C, just mean we'll go into it. All right, so this is we're closing to why don't we just Revelation 13 and 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So what's that? Save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. What's the name of the beast? Your brothers never go into that.
Okay. So the name of the beast, again, how it's called. Help me out here.
His reputation.
Okay, there you go. His, the name Shum, right? There you go. His reputation, his fame, man. His fame. I'm trying to be more different with my words, but it's simple as that, really, you know. As again, rule in speech, not in knowledge. I don't have to try to do too many words, to be honest. The name of the beast is his fame of it. Okay, worship that reputation of the beast, and the number of the name.
But the reputation,
the
reputation is the chip.
Right.
The reputation is the chip. His name, because his name is his surname. When you penetrate a woman, 45 and 4. When you penetrate a woman, or that's marriage, and it's sex is marriage. So when you do that, then the name is put upon. So the name of the beast, that's him putting his vibration or his surname, his spirit on you. And how's he going to do that? By penetrating you, ultimately by penetrating you with his chip. So that's him going into the marriage, and he's trying to defile the woman. Because in 2 Corinthians 11:2 it talks about how Paulos, who's Paul, was trying to present the elect as a chaste virgin to Hamashiach. So if there's a chaste virgin and someone else has gone in unto them, then they're no longer chaste, are they? They've been defiled. They've been defiled with the name. They've been surnamed by the beast. He's put his all, or he's penetrated you with his tool, man.
And it's like it's an idol to you. That's what I mean. That's his fame is that chip. That chip's gonna be as an idol, man. As a graven work in your right hand, in your hand, or up in your forehead, as your idol, man.
So this
what is it? Oh, Slack. Elon Musk putting it in that monkey. Okay?
Yeah. Him said they can play I
video
don't know
games
what you call it.
somewhere.
Yeah.
That Jake is gonna fucking eat that shit up.
Brother, you mean I can play?
I can play 2K all day.
I can play 2K with my forehead.
Fucking Jake, man.
But he's gonna die doing it, man.
Yeah, man.
And where is my man, man? My man.
Where is
the
that
brother
dude?
said he was coming to study David Lynn, and he was going to come up and confound us, or me, but anyway. Isaiah chapter, he's not going to confound Iowa. Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 4, for Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name, I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. And it's all for his name's sake, so our name is his name, Yahawah. But what does Yahshua mean? He is the prince of the power, that's our name. That's how we've been surnamed. So it's his name, it's for his name's sake, is why he's redeeming the elect. So that's how Esau is going to try and put his name, and he's going to try and take the Lord's woman. That's why he's also spiritually an adulterer. And that goes into him being the whore, or he's trying to get the nations drunk. When you're drunk, you're not thinking straight. So if you're drunk, then you're more likely to be onto his system. That's why worship in the image can lead to the RFID microchip, but the mark is not his system, man. The mark is a physical RFID microchip. Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 5, it says, for thy maker is thine husband, the Lord Yahawah of hosts is his name, and thy redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the God, just reading it verbatim, the God of the whole earth shall he be called. And that's ultimately in the end he will, because all nations will learn righteousness through Israel. Get Isaiah the 2nd chapter, Micah the 4th chapter. Can't think of anywhere else. So there's many places to speak of it, man. He will, because he'll be ruling and reigning over the whole earth through his elects. And starting with Yahawashi, the first fruits, and then there's the first fruits. It says among many brethren, meaning the brethren. And what's a brethren? A kinsman, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption. All right. I already paraphrased 2 Corinthians 11, so not going to get that. Talked about that. So we've got that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast. So him jabbing you with his mark and putting his name on you, you can only get that by taking the mark. And then it says, or the number of his name. Now it tells you in the next verse what the arithmetic of his name is, the beastman's number. Right. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man. And Planet of the Apes, it talks about the beastman. Who's the beastman? Well, the 4th beastman, and the 11th one that comes out of it. Sure. The one that had a look more stout than his fellows. That is the beastman. That's the true beastman. It says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 And what's that in the Greek?
That in the Greek, the Strong's number is G5516, and it's Kasai or Kasi. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Chai or Chi, Kasai or Kasi, depending on if you're one of those.
Chai, Kasai, stigma.
Yeah, and then stigma, okay, which is 603 score or 660 and 6, okay, 666. And when you go to each number,
Because people say 666, but it's not, because when you go into the Greek, that's very key. It's not just 3 sixes. It's because each one of them makes it very blatant.
right,
So let's go. What's the let's test Iowa. What's the chi? And it's not Tai Chi. It's not Tai Chi. What's chi?
the Chi or Chai, that word is going into like a mark or a branding, right? When you get that chip upon you, it's that you're as if you're branded and you've been marked as a slave, and it's an O, man.
Show that to the tin, because it's got an X. X marks the spot.
All right, you see that? Yahawah Tazah, you see that? I'll be honest, you probably don't fucking see that. Let me do this. Let me highlight it.
Anyway, it looks like an X. It looks like an X.
You'll see it then. All right. Okay. Like an X, and then they're gonna brand you like your cattle, man. In fact, the word charagma goes into etching engraving, and it like brother said, an O, man. Like in Deuteronomy 15, if there was a hired servant that wanted to be with their owner forever, they would get an O in their ear, man. It's like a cattle out here. They would put O in you, so you're like a damn cattle to Esau, man. And you are, as of right now, most people are really, and then they're going to then fulfill that by taking the RFID microchip. All right, and then Kasi is something I'm not kidding, but are you aware of what Kasi?
Yeah. When you go into that, you can see that as well. Pull it up on basically when it correlates, it go into the heap. Yeah, nice one.
Nice one.
Anyway, when you go to that, what is it? Chai Kasai. You go to a Kasai, right? It's like a capital E. Joe Biden's got it in his name, and when you go into Samech,
Right?
this guy threw me off, man. Samech, the Hebrew.
Edomites think it's sick, man.
You go into the word Samech, and it correlates. It means a stamp, a signpost. What do you do when you've got a tent pole? You whack it in, and it's on the ground. It's something stuck in. Yeah, it's stuck in. Well, so when you go into the Samech, it's like you can say a T with 2 crosses, sort of like the Orthodox cross.
Right.
And when you go into with a bit sticking out, and when you go into that, it correlates with Kasai. And Kasai itself, there was an entry on that. That's what it means. It means what it means. It means what it means. Etim Online has one. I think it's more for chi, and then stigma. Well, if you've got a stigma, that's what's that? Galatians 6 and 17. It talks about how he bears the
This is the G4742 stigma, which means a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander branded or
That's
pricked,
not all, man. Right,
cut
so
into
you've
their
got
bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. That's pretty much it.
Luck, it's luck.
Very good.
So you got chai. Which one's the
Oh, okay.
All right, chai.
Side.
Chai. Why do you say so weird?
That is how you say it.
It's
side.
Greek, isn't it? Chai, that's an X. X marks the spot. And it tells you on Etim Online, if you pull that up, please. Pull up Etim Online.
Yep.
XI.
Perfect. The 14
No. Try. All right, XI is a mark. We've seen that. Or we've said that. Go look it.
The
Right,
22nd letter of the Greek alphabet representing this is Shai from Etim Online, noun. 22nd letter of the Greek alphabet representing a ch sound, okay? The letter is shaped like an X, and so the Greek letter name was used figuratively to signify such a shape or arrangement as in chiasma, 2 things placed crosswise, arranged diagonally, marked with an X.
Wait, what is with an X?
Arranged diagonally, marked with an X.
With an X, read.
To mark with an X, to write the letter X. Some dialects use chi or chi to represent the ks sound properly belonging to xi. Latin picked this up, and the sound value of chi in Latin-derived alphabets is now that of English X.
Okay, and when you go into that, that's the same one that Mr. Biden's got on his campaign. They know what they're doing, man. They're not, they're not stupid. Well, chai.
That's actually Kasi, rather, not this one. This is the first one. So the second one. So it's
Yeah,
high.
that's-
Kasar.
Chai is the excellent.
Yeah, yeah. The
All right,
Mr.
select,
Biden
select,
has
select.
is the second one. Yeah.
Oh, that's the one that correlates with the stamp. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I always
J-
get that confused.
So
And then
JB's got
stigma.
the come on. So JB's got that on his
Not
name,
just
his
in Bieber.
campaign thing. All right, and then it's the capital of the Kasi or Sai, as they say. What are you saying, brother?
Stigma, it means to stick someone on. If you know someone's a harlot, well, they've got a stigma for being a harlot. But it literally means a sticking. That's like when you get the word charagma. Well, it's in the Latin there, it's character, which is a literal against sticking in, because it's your character is your impression upon someone. That's when you get that character. It goes to the English word character.
Watch this. This is Galatians 6 and 17. From henceforth, let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of the Lord Yahawashi.
Cool. So,
Very good. So yeah, again, that's talking about physical mark, you know, because he took actual physical stripes. He didn't get a spiritual stripe in that manner.
but it can be applied spiritually, but first the use, just like character. The character, look at the word character. Character, I think Etim Online might even tell you, I've not seen it, but it might even tell you that.
Right.
So there you are. That we sort of went into Revelation 13. You got anything else? La'ah. So with that, double honors. Well, first off, shalom to the elect, the hopeful elect, scattered across all four nations.
Right.
All four
Four
nations.
nations, 4 corners of the earth.
It's been a long day, bro. It's like across all the 4 winds of heaven, the 4 winds of the earth, scattered across all 4 corners of the globe, all 4 corners of the earth, among all nations, whatever you look like. Yeah, shalom lebachaya. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and labor in this word and doctrine. And all praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Rakah, Kadash.